Then in addition as well, if we can as well, please keep ourselves mute so that we can have the best of experience while this workshop goes on. That will really be much appreciated. Please, let's remain muted. There'll be opportunity to ask questions. But before we do that, our speakers, they will take us on a journey of what they have for us with regards to young people and mental health and the impact of family and the social environment as well. So please, let's try and mute ourselves. Let's remain muted. If you need to speak, there'll be opportunity for you to ask questions, and then we'll call you. And then before I go on, I have to introduce our speaker first. We've got three lovely people amongst us this morning. Sorry, everybody is lovely. Sorry, forgive me. We've got three lovely people amongst us today that they're going to be blessing us with their wealth of experience. I've got Dr. Christiana Elisha-Aboh. Please forgive me if I didn't pronounce that name very well. Elisha-Aboh, please. I do apologize. She's a mental health specialist and she works with the NHS. She's got wealth of experience when it comes to mental health. And then she's actually starting for us. She's going to start for us. She's going to tell us a little bit on what she knows about mental health, family, drug abuse, and things like that. What brings about mental health, the source and things like that. And then in addition, I have Abimbola Lopez with us. She's a relationship and family strategist. She's got a lot of experience when it comes to family, relationship, and she's also into business. She works with NHS as well, mental health as well, but adult mental health. So she will be here to tell us about the role of family, things like what family can do to at least to minimize the impact of mental health. And then lastly, I have, I'm just going to call her, she's a woman of authority. So I'm just going to call her for today, Moyo. She's a registered nurse, a social worker, and I'm sure some of you that have been following us, she's been in our past meeting. Very lovely lady. And she's doing a massive work with regards to mental health in Manchester, Warrington. And she works with NHS as well, children and adolescent mental health service. So a lot of experience she's got for us, and she's going to be blessing us as well today. And you know, one of the things I really want us to look into as well is the social aspect, the family and social aspect. She is going to be looking at that aspect for us. She's going to talk a lot about the social impact as well. So, and then before I drop my, I'm going to stop now. I've got three young adults with us. I've got Olu Obadino. She's a third-year medical student in one of the highly rated university in United Kingdom. I've got Foyi Awoshika. Foyi is a second-year student of politics, University of Loughborough. She's gonna co-host this with myself, and then I've got Lolu Odolabi as well. He's going to be supporting as well. So I've got three young people with us, because this is actually about them. It's about young people, it's about children, it's about adults. So I want everybody to just relax. Please, as the speakers, as they are talking, as they are speaking, please try and put down in your paper your question. There'll be opportunity to ask questions at the end of their speech, because I think they will talk for the first 40 minutes. They will tell us what basically their experience, their ideas about mental health as related to family, as related to the social environment as well. So I'm going to hand over now to Dr. Christiana Elisha-Aboh. She's going to start for us, and then that should be it for now. But please, let's remain muted so that we can have the best of experience, please. Please, let's remain muted if possible. Let's remain muted. So over to you, Dr. Christiana Elisha-Aboh. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Well, I was just wondering if it's okay for me to share my screen.
Yes, I think you should be. You are a co-host now.
Thank you.
What I'm going to do, I'll stop sharing and then you can take over. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm sharing now. Thank you so much, Auntie Adeola, for the opportunity to be here today. It's something I appreciate, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm sorry I can't see everyone because I'm sharing my screen, but as Auntie Adeola said, if you have questions at the end, I'll be happy to answer them to the best of my abilities. So today, what we're hoping to talk about is young people and mental health, the impact on family and social environment. This is a topic that is close to my heart, particularly because I feel that a lot of mental health issues affect us based on ethnicity, based on culture, based on just very different reasons, really. So I'm hoping that today we can sort of share some thoughts. I'm just going to be timing myself because I don't want to exceed my time. So I'm Christiana Elisha-Aboh. I'm a trainee doctor. I work in Leeds, and I would like to say that a lot of the thoughts I'll be sharing today are thoughts of mine, not of my establishment. And my motto in life is that I want to take steps to make life easier for others. So by way of introducing us to adolescence, we know that this is a period between childhood and adulthood, usually ranges between the age of 10 and 19, usually foundational years characterized by rapid changes. But this is where a lot of our character, a lot of our characteristics, a lot of our principles and policies around life are formed. We find out that in the period of adolescence, very little or slight changes that affect our physical health, psychological health, our educational or social experiences can make younger people very vulnerable. It's actually estimated that 1 in 7 younger adults would experience some sort of mental illness, and people actually say that the numbers are much higher than that. Some people say up to 1 in 5. So it means when 5 people, it's likely that 1 person has had or experienced disorder. So they are. It's really important that we know about them, about ways to help and support people. So an estimated, can I just ask? Adeola, I'm not sure if you'll be able to mute people.
Okay, I'll try and mute some.
Okay.
Can we please remain muted, please? Sorry about that, Doctor.
No, it's okay. So it's interesting that an estimated 1.1 million adolescents die each year, and the leading causes of death are actually road traffic accidents and interpersonal violence. When you think about the causes of road traffic accidents, some of them are linked to substance abuse, linked to mental health problems. Usually for suicides, of them are linked to mental health problems. So it just tells us that this is not something we can run away from. So it's important both for parents and for us as younger people, how we look after our mental health. So the risk for 15 to 19-year-olds are found to be much higher. And sometimes these are related to things like alcohol use and unsexual intercourse. So just thinking very common health problems, mental health problems in adolescents. The one that ranks highest is anxiety. You have things like depression as well, behavioral difficulties. And then I've talked about others where I'll talk a bit about psychosis, particularly schizophrenia and eating disorders. When you think about anxiety, I said it's the commonest one. We find out that it's actually more common in older adolescents, so between 15 and 19 years of age. Depression is also more common in older adolescents. We find out that it's also more common in females. And what's very interesting is that when a child is growing up as a child under 10, what children are, they're afraid of the dark, they're afraid of beds, they're afraid of their parents, monsters, things like that. As people transition into adolescence, what we find they become more afraid of is they turn it inwards and begin to look at my self-esteem. How do I look? What's my body like? How is my performance? And because a lot of changes occurred during puberty, a lot of problems around social acceptance, their performance in school, in sporting, they become a bit more critical and a bit more self-aware. And these are things that are linked to the anxiety or the increase in anxiety. COVID hasn't helped. We know that the incidence of anxiety as a result of COVID has actually increased significantly. So that's something to be mindful about. We know that about 24% of adolescents actually self-harm one way or the other, cutting or burning themselves or restricting their food or actually trying to ligature. Very different means people self-harm. Things to look out for when it becomes anxious. They might refuse to go to school. They might complain about stomach pains or physical symptoms that you don't find any particular reasons for. They might have trouble concentrating. They might become more irritable, very self-conscious, have problems sleeping at night. And they might need that repeated recurrence, and you might notice a drop in their grades and performance in school. It's important to link anxiety and depression because a lot of the time they occur concurrently. When people feel very anxious, what you might find is that they begin to withdraw or self-isolate themselves from others. They might not do the activities they do anymore. They might not want to go out. And as a result, they might feel low in their mood and you might have a depression come about as a result. The next thing that's quite common is behavioral problems, and very commonly we see oppositional defiant disorders and conduct disorders where a child has no regard for others or social norms. And this is something that's very difficult to manage. But I'll talk a bit more about the tips as I go along, but I would also want to link some of this to substance use later. When I classify others, these are not very common. But when you think about a psychosis, you think about that disconnection from reality. And I sort of want to focus on schizophrenia, and mainly because when you think about schizophrenia, a lot of factors are related to ethnicity and else that our forum here where we're sort of speaking to people that might be from a minority group, it's helpful to sort of think about these things. So primarily you think about genetics, and this is very similar to someone having high blood pressure or having diabetes. So when you go to hospital, you're asked, has anyone in your family had diabetes or has anyone had high blood pressure? And when they have these symptoms, you're sort of classed to be at higher risk of developing them. It's very similar with mental illness. So if someone in your family, if a parent has an anxiety disorder, or if a parent has depression or a psychotic disorder, or an eating disorder, even whatever it is, a mental health disorder, the chances that children in that family will be affected by a similar mental health problem is very high. So genetics are linked to this. It's difficult to say whether it's nature and nurture, but in my experience, I think it's usually a combination of both, and it's usually multifactorial. You find out for schizophrenia, usually more common in men, usually in their late teens / early adulthood. That's usually when the first episodes occur, linked to childhood traumatic experiences and also traumatic experiences in adulthood as well. So life events, difficult life events. There's a lot of research going into pregnancy and birth complications, whether it be malnutrition, stressful pregnancies, infections, being linked to mental health problems, particularly psychosis in children. Immigrant families is a big one. People who live in urbanized areas are at higher risk. Ethnicity, Black Caribbean families are more at risk. And again, I said this is multifactorial because it's not clear. You wonder, is this genes? Is this the fact that because someone is an immigrant family, they might maybe be of lower social, they might have social disadvantage. Could it also be linked to the fact that they might also suffer traumatic events, whether bullying in school, things like that? Would those things put them more at a disadvantage such that it's not just ethnicity by itself? So these things are very complexly interwoven in my experience. Substance misuse is one of the very common ones, because remember that if someone starts using substances at the age of 13, their brains are still developing. Your brain still develops till your early 20s. So if your brain is still developing and you're using substances, it means that you're causing injury to your brain. And I'll talk a bit more about that as I go along. So with substance users, a lot of people use because they like it, they enjoy it, it gives them confidence, peer pressure, it's learned behavior, they've learned it from a family member. So it's important, what social connections you keep as a parent. What we find most commonly in younger people is alcohol and marijuana. Weed is becoming very common. There are 3 different types of weed. I don't know if you've heard of skunk, but a lot of these are linked to people developing a cycle. But remember that some people use this to self-medicate. So someone might have an anxiety and feel if I use cannabis or alcohol, it would help me sort of manage or medicate this problem, rather than seeking help from the right sources. I'd want to emphasize that it's important to develop the right coping mechanisms, because while substances might help for the short run, they're not a long-term fix. And people can become dependent. And then you think about the impact on your physical health, your mental health, and your social health. So it can have a very detrimental effect. And I always say it's important to learn from those who have gone ahead. Older people, they tell you about the problems they've had, the difficulties they've experienced. They tell you about why it's important that you make the right decisions now. You see people, older people in hospital who've had strokes, and at that point they're making decisions, I'm not going to use this, that, and that. How about starting those things earlier on in life? How about learning more functional ways to cope with a difficulty that comes our way? And I think it's really important that our families think about these things. This slide here just summarizes what the predisposing factors are for someone who with more mental health problems. And what I'd like to stress here is that lone parenting is a risk factor, reconstituted families. So for example, when people maybe go through a divorce and as a result of the divorce remarry and sort of have blended families, educational qualifications, the financial earnings, things like that. So these are things that are linked to people having more mental health problems. Now, I know that sometimes it's impossible to keep a family together. So it's thinking about, now that I am in this particular position, or I'm a lone single parent, or I've had to have a blended family, it's thinking about your awareness of the disadvantage that it brings to your children and how you're more supportive of them. But remember that if you're not aware of the problems that can arise, you're not sure how you support them or what things you do to sort of make these things better. So this slide is here for information, mainly to let us know, if I know that as an immigrant, my children are more prone to a certain particular problem, then I think about how I support them to navigate that problem so they do not become statistics. So just thinking about families, and this is where I'll try and just round up, because I know we have some parents on here today with us. It's important we mirror the right things. Our relationship with social media is key. What our children see us do. I talk about modeling. Do we keep the rules that we make? I talk about the friendships we keep. What do our children learn from our friendships? How do our children experience us, have relationships with other people? Can we keep a tab on what our children are doing, or are we just busy and do we just give them the phone and the tablet and forget about it? If you're a single parent or if you're going through a difficult patch, which people can you call on for support? Think about your social support, your cultural support, what groups your family can be part of to sort of ensure that they have that support. Think about access, ways you can yourself and educate yourself by reading, attending courses, listening to messages, listening to tapes, whatever it is, getting the information you need to equip yourself adequately to be able to support children. Remember that the children we were growing up or in our, in generations past are very different from the children we have now. The problems and the challenges they face, especially with social media, are completely different. How do you evolve as a parent, and how do you support them to navigate through some of that? It's important that you're open to have these discussions with your parents. And I always want to say to parents, it's important that you remain shockable. When your children say certain things to you and they're really, things that cause you to be like, wow, what have they just said? It's important that you're able to contain that. You're able to hold that uncomfortable feeling and give it back to them in a very processed manner. I'm not able to go through everything on my slides, but I've put this slide here because it's important that your children can see what they will become. A lot of the times, children will take with them they've had from home. So whatever your children, and if you think about it, a lot of who you are today is a product of the parents you have, a product of the environment you grew up in. So they will take with them what you are today, what they see in you today. So it's really important that as a parent, you think about who you are, what you're doing, and where you're going. Some of the symptoms that a child might become very involved in social media: how much time are they spending? Are they withdrawing from family, hiding away, lying about what they're doing? Think about that, very important. There's a lot of social media influence, YouTube, Instagram, the newer ones coming up. It's important that we keep conversant with this movements in technology. If possible, be their friends on social media. Keep an eye, keep track what they do. Be interested in what they do, not because you want to be a one, but because you want to support them. Just a few tips for parents: know their friends, be able to bring their friends home so that you know those people and you can support them. That's my, and just give affirmative words that you build their confidence. And just people, it's important that you realize that a lot of the things you see on social media are not real. Real life is very, very different from social media, and I cannot emphasize that enough. So it's important that you remember to be positive. You remember to put boundaries in place. I will not have this. I will not take this. And a lot of the boundaries that young people can put in place is an extension of what we've taught them in families. We're respecting their boundaries. Before you go into their room, are you going to knock? Are you going to be respectful of their own boundaries? And that's me rounding up. Thank you. And these are some references.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Wow, that's awesome. You've got a lot on your slide, but you said you couldn't just take us through everything, but I'm just going to say this recording will go to our Facebook page and it'll be on YouTube as well. So if you want to catch up on the slides, they will be there for you. You actually be there for you to see. But we'll come back to you, Doctor, in a minute. But if that's okay with you, if you have any question, please feel free to send it through the chat to myself, and then we'll come back to that question. And if there's opportunity for you to ask the question, we'll let you know later. But now we're going to go to Abimbola now. Let me see if she's ready. Okay, she said she's not ready yet. Pastor Mo, are you ready?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you so much. And you know what, I just want to appreciate Pastor Mo this morning. She's actually on her way to another workshop in Manchester, but she's just taking the time to join us. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, Pastor Mo. Thank you for coming, and you have the floor now if you want to start, ma. 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, ma. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to have the opportunity to share together and to learn from everyone. Thank you, Dr. Aboh. That was a good one. So you've done a very good job around the medical side of things. So I'll just start, I'll come from the background of the social aspects and to look at things, in an holistic manner as well. So thank you for your explanation of what mental illness is and the depression and anxiety that young people can go through because of everything that is going on. So for me, I want to start by saying, let's just have a look at the ripple effects on families that, the young people's mental health can have. It can create tension, it can cause fear, it can make families to actually, have a lot of disagreement, especially when you are thinking about families from our background, the BME background, because of the shame and the stigma that, you know, we've put, you know, in place regarding mental health. And by the grace of God, I'm a pastor, and I know that even in churches, it's not every church that can actually openly discuss mental health. And so platforms like this, for me, is a big blessing. Now, let's look at it from the aspect of even being a migrant family. Some of the parents, some of us, you know, there's a sense of loss when we find ourselves in developed countries, because people are already, you know, operating at a level higher than where they are, and they come to developed countries and you have to start from the scratch and all of that. So this sense of loss and bereavement, most of the time, and over the years, this is what I've seen, and I'm not saying it didn't happen to me as well, it made us to be culturally incompetent. What do I mean? We don't actually engage with our community.
So please,
Is it okay, ma? Is everyone hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you, ma.
Okay, so it makes us to be culturally incompetent. We don't engage with our environment, and what we don't realize is that, as you know, every day the kids that we've had, or the kids that we have in this country, they're growing every day, and they are engaging with the culture of this place, and we have no clue, because half of the time we are still going through the loss and the bereavement of everything that we've left in our country of birth. Now, unfortunately, or to add insult to injury, then we had COVID. When you talk about, when you look at the impact of COVID, I mean, COVID impacted the whole world. But for us, from, you know, Black and minority ethnic background, it was worse, because most people are economic migrants. You know, we are the ones who are likely to send money home. We have other responsibility outside of the country. And what happened was, during COVID, all this responsibility did not stop. We have dependents. We have people that we are supporting all over the world, and families are losing jobs. We were affected like anyone else, but we didn't stop to actually look at the needs of our children. And what I've seen in my practice is that even though the whole world was like at a standstill for 2 years, the growth of children, their development, the development of the children did not stop, you know? So, and then the issue of class as well. We know that a lot of people from our background, you know, we are more likely to do those jobs that puts you at the bottom of everything in life. You know, we are more likely to suffer racism and discrimination at work. So all these things, it is impacting on the family setting and our children, because what is happening is that our children, they have friends, they have colleagues, they have people that they are speaking to, you know, but then all we say to them is just go to church and look after your younger ones, you know. So they are masking in a lot of things. And because we are not there, and, you know, for Black families as well, a lot of us, we do not speak, we don't talk, we don't communicate to our children, we don't share. We are the ones who don't access services. There's something that we talk about in my role, and it's called ACE. You can check it out, Adverse Childhood Experiences. Some of our children, because of the loss, because we kind of, especially if you are you know, first generation British, you kind of uprooted your family from the familiar to a non-familiar environment. And then we don't access the kind of help that can actually help them to be established here. And these children, this is all they know. So they are trying things, they are speaking to people who don't have the same values as us. So all these, childhood experience that are adverse is already impacted negatively on their mental health. Another thing is the issue of domestic violence. It's like bringing the cat out of the bag from our background, because we don't talk about it, we don't talk about abuse. But the truth of the matter is these things do happen, So until in our small community, in our big communities, in churches, in mosques, we start discussing these things so that children can heal. And then another thing that I saw during COVID was that, for some children, and not necessarily children from our background alone, school was their only safe place. And then they were uprooted from that for nearly 2 years, So that is another adverse situation. So things like depression, low mood, psychosis, and Dr. Abbott was talking about social media, because that's the only safe place. And then they go there, they meet a lot of, negative people, negative things, who further influences them negatively. As Black people as well, we don't put ourselves forward for assessment. So we have a lot of children who were supposed to have been assessed for things like ASC, autism, ADHD, or all those underlying diagnoses, but they never got the assessment. Why? Because parents are busy praying. Parents are busy. Nobody has any problem with praying. You can do that and then let the professional have an input in the life of your children as well. We have research has shown it, you can check it, about how trauma and negative childhood experiences can actually affect our DNA, So, and then we see there's a lot of, mutation in people's genes because of all these adverse situations were not addressed. What about single parents in our communities? What do we do? What are we doing for single parents? Who is speaking to who? Single parents, are we putting ourselves out there to get the support that we need to speak to people? We have meetings like this, people who need it, how many people will actually join? And then when they join, how many people will be open about their difficulties? So now what can we do? Let's just think about what we can do, because I'm coming from the social aspect of things, because everything that Dr. Abbott said, it's actually on point. We have children that we see with schizophrenia, psychosis on medication, and medically, you cannot fix everything medically. You have to look at, holistic, look at things in an holistic manner. What's happening with housing? What's happening with family? Is this person sleeping? Is this person eating right? Is this person exercising? We are the ones who are more likely not to do anything that helps our social life, So what can we do? I was in a training, I think a couple of days ago, and this trainer was telling us about what, dominant, they call it a dominant diet. So in every family, in every family in the world, you have someone that acts as the dominant diet. So in a family where you have a man in Black and minority ethnic background, our dominant diet is usually the dad. And then what happens? I'm believing God to finish a book that I'm writing. Where are the dads? Half of the time when they are there, and thank God for men who are online this morning to actually benefit from this. And maybe you will be our spokesperson that will help us in this area. For most men, sometimes it's like they just rule and reign, if you are a man, please let the children be able to speak to you, get words out of them, create time for them, because you are that dominant diet in your family. And if you are a single parent, a single mom, you are the dominant person, and we cannot give what we don't have. We've got to be able to live, to be able to actually support our children. We need resilience. For us, especially BME families in this environment, we need to be resilient. We need to come together. What about communication? A lot of people from our background, there are some things we don't talk about it, we just pray about it. Somebody is going through a very horrible domestic violence, and you didn't say anything. The person started beating your children, doing it to your children. You didn't say anything until the person was able to kill you. What is that? There is no holiness in that. So we need to be able to communicate. We need to come together to be able to help each other to navigate the health and social process of the country. Because I work in that role, and the speakers, most of you online probably do the same job. But the thing is, it is not straightforward. It can be really complex. We have people from our background who are not educated. We have people who cannot speak the language. How are they going to be able to navigate the health and social care processes? We need platform like what Dr. Badino is doing this morning. We need to come together. We need to help ourselves. We cannot do it alone. We need to be able to talk. If our children are going through issues, we cannot say, oh, they are going to judge me. We need to remove the stigma, and we need to remove the shame. Now, I want to say something as well before I round up on religion, because I'm a pastor. I cannot but talk about that. People have said they've said it, they will judge me in church and all of that, all these negativities about church. I'm not saying it's not there. There are negativities about mosque as well. I was born into a Muslim family. I'm not saying they are not there, but those settings, there's a lot of positives that can come from those settings as well, because especially people from our background, you cannot separate us from our beliefs. And we can turn that into something positive. Like the Bible says, he that wants friends must be friendly. Before we begin to say they are not helping me in mosque, they're not helping me in church, or they are not helping me, what are we doing? Are we friendly ourselves? We need to delight. Psalm 37, delight yourself in the Lord. We must be able to create our own joy, even just being able to just have a walk or something. You need to, endorse yourself, clap for yourself. I was saying to some people the other day, I said, every other person is taken. You've got yourself, and especially women, mothers, single parents, single dads. You must be able to actually endorse yourself so that you can be strong enough to support our kids, because the rate at which mental health is actually ruining the lives of young people, especially young people from our background, is appalling. What else can we do? We need to talk to someone. We need to ask for help. I don't like it when people say we are praying. It is good that you are praying, but God has placed professionals, people who can help us. They are there. It is not un-Christian to get help. It is not un-Muslim to get help or to get medication. I'm not saying divine health doesn't happen. I'm not saying God cannot heal people, but God can walk through those things. Please don't cover these children until it gets to the point where they now have to go to tier 4, where we have to section them. So the adverse experiences, the depression, the trauma, the low mood, the other diagnoses, ASC, ADHD, some of these things that we have left them undiagnosed because we don't want to approach mental health services. You can approach mental health services. Some of the people who looks like you works there now. What else can we do? Simple things like healthy eating, socializing, going outdoors, friendship, ring people up, check up on people, and then things like, sensitive things like troublesome marriages, relationship, domestic violence. Please don't cover it. Don't cover it. Speak to someone, bring that demon out. Immediately you bring it out, you have actually reduced the power. Don't cover it. A child begins to carry knife. A child begins to smoke weed. A child begins to, sneak out in the night. Ask for help. We've got people like Dr. Badino now. We've got our people who understand our culture. who can actually signpost you. And there's a lot of people, a lot of places where we can go to. There's a lot of referral. Check in your own local authority. Go to your citizen advice bureau, ask for help. Please don't close your mouth. You know, those are all the things that I wanted to talk about. You know, the language barriers. I've mentioned the single parent. Another areas will be the asylum seekers, because we cannot pretend that they are not there. What help are they getting? What help are the children getting? Is there a family next door that you can support? And then the family next door, if we don't know that you need that help, we won't be able to support you, you know. And then dealing with fear. We need to, because of course, mental health issues comes with a lot of fear. The fact that you're seeing that, oh my God, this is happening to my child or happening to me, it comes with a lot of fear. It comes, but then people do have headache, and that's a physical health problem. People have cancer and they deal with it, you know. So mental health problems, when it is there, don't let us hide it. There's no stigma there. The people who stigmatize people with mental health, they are the ignorant people. Let's bring it out. We will pray, but at the same time, we will accept support and accept services. I'll leave it there for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor Moyo. You've said a lot. I'm so blessed. Thank you so much, ma'am. Abimbola, are you ready now? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for coming. You can have the floor now.
Can you hear me now? You can hear me now. Yes, thank you. Yes, God bless you, ma. It is an honor to be part of what God is doing. And I pray that the Almighty God will honor you, because to be honest, this I wasn't prepared for it, as you know. And things of God, for me, it has to be done irrespective of where I am, what I'm doing. The topic today that we are dealing with is young people and mental health, the impact on family and the social environment. Like we all know, you all know my name. My name is Abimbola Lopez. I get myself involved in the things of God. I do relationship, and I've seen so many things. I know where I'm coming from. I know where I am, and I know what people are going through. So this for me is an opportunity to be able to share my thoughts and what I think about mental health in young people. I work in NHS, like you rightly said, and like other speakers have already said, that we have so many people as well that do that, and we see what is happening. We see young people do rape. It's so alarming. It's so sad, you know. Sometimes I see people walk through and I feel like, my gosh. And I'll be honest, because Christians, sometimes I kind of fret, I panic. Why Christians? Why us? And you realize that many people, they refuse, they decline medication. And with the medication, like the other speaker said, it helps you to recover quickly, to get better. You go home. While you are there, you pray. They don't stop you from praying. They don't stop you from sharing your spiritual belief as a Christian. So I want to encourage the moms and dads on the floor that we should open up. We should not hide anything. We should open up. We should not hide it. And I want to throw a question to us, that has any one of us ever think how family impacts our children, either negatively, our environment, or positively? Have you ever think about it? How does it affect them, the environment they are? Is it toxic to them? Do they see it and say, if I go home, I know mom will be shouting. If I go home, I know dad will be screaming. So let me stay with my friends. Do we know the type of friends our children, they move out with as the children? And I will just quickly run us through Genesis, because I'm here to go through the family. I just want us to quickly read Genesis chapter 2, and I'll quickly read verse 21 up down. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Verse 24 says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. So as a family, if we are not ashamed, why is it that when sometimes, our children come to us, they ask us questions. They want answers to those questions. Why are we hiding? Why are we not sharing the answers to them? Let us be honest with them. You know what, Bode, you are not allowed to go around with those friends of yours. And this is my personal reason. This is my opinion. You can sit down around the table and discuss this and say, okay, mom, dad, that is what you think, but that is no. Bring that friend of your daughter, your son, bring them around. Be friend with them. Because if you are not friend, you will not know what they are doing out there. Some might be on drugs. It's so shocking and alarming that we realize that some of our young people, the way they take drugs is so alarming, and they are Christian. It's not that they are not Christian. They are church, they go to church like everyone as well. But do we make friends with them as a couple? Do we befriend them? Or when they come to ask us questions, we just chase them away? So the environment is so toxic for them. They know they cannot relate with you as a dad. They know they cannot relate with you as a mom. So they find refuge, they find comfort within their friends. And when they are within their friends, there's every possibility, if they are not the godly one, there is every tendency that they will become what we don't want them to become. And then as a mother, when we go further in chapter 3 of that Genesis, the Bible said, when devil wanted to tempted, he came through the woman. He came through the woman and he did what he has to do. And then they ate the fruit. What am I bringing out there? As a family, as a couple, what do you do when your son or your daughter is experiencing mental health? Because sometimes we know it, we cover it up, like other speakers have said. We don't want to share it because of the stigma. So, and we keep quiet about it. When they come to you as as a couple, what do? Do you, instead of you to work together, does one work other way, the other work other way? And then we won't be able to bring those children out the way the Lord has given them to us, because we are just a keeper. We are just a keeper. So what do? We keep quiet, or we just do things. We make sure that our son, oh, this is my son. We know nothing's going to happen to him. And then the father cannot say anything about what your son, my son, is doing that is not right, because we are not working together as a team. We are not working together as a team. So as a family, what do? We need to start working together as a team. And also, I do mention something. I said, I want to go back in regards to stigma. That because you share your story, because you share what you are going through with anyone, and that person now go outside and started making fun of you or telling your story, leave them. Their own nemesis will catch up with them, because you need help. Let us cry out that we need help. Do not let us cover it up. This now and age, there's no reason to cover it up. And that is why we realize that the country we are in, we see people, they go through, there's so many support out there. There is so many support out there, and it's so sad when we don't tap into that opportunity. When there is doctor out there to help us, you share it, you discuss things that your children, your young people are going through. They are going through a lot. They don't want to share it because they know mom and dad are not helpful. And we need to start changing our attitude when our young ones, when they come to us and they tell us how they are feeling. Let us be friends with them. Let us be friends with them. And again, still in regards to that, we all know the story of Jacob and Esau. We know what happened to them. You know the role the mother played. We know the role Rebecca played. He had what the father wanted. And then what did she do as a mother? Because she loves a son, Jacob, she called him go and do this. Betrayal. Don't let us, we think we are, what we are doing it because, oh, we love them. But don't forget, they are all our children. Let us treat all our children the same way. As a couple, let us treat them the same way. Don't let us treat one like, oh, because the other one is not doing the way we expected them to do, and then we put them aside. What is going to be our gain at the end? At our old age, we want to see them and be happy. We want to see their children and be happy with them. But if we, because of what they are doing at present, because we don't like it, we chase them away, we don't look after them, we don't support them with what they need, then at the end, we will have ourselves to blame. Also, they've mentioned so much about social media. What is the impact as a family? What role do we play to make sure that what our children are doing, they are doing the right thing in their mental health? Some of them, they go online. Some of them, they go online. They search for so many things. They think they will get answer there, but there's no answer there. Like they said, they are not real. They are not real. They are not real. So let us be careful, because as a family, if we ourselves, we are on social media, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on Twitter for the whole day, 24 hours, not because of what we are doing, because now we know we all go digital, that some of us, the business online. But when we go online, what can our son or our daughter, can they say, Mom, can I quickly take your phone? I just want to quickly call my friend. Can they do that? Because we know what is on that phone. If they see it, they will shake their head that that's not true. That's not my mom. So I want to encourage us this afternoon. God bless you, ma, for what you are doing. And I pray that God Almighty will continue to empower you and He will continue to encourage you. You will not lack. God will surround you with people that will lift your hands up, because this we need to handle it. We need to treat it. We cover up too much. The church cover up. We cover up. We don't seek for help. Yes, like the other speaker said, yes, we pray. God answers prayer. And I know I have been a partaker of miracle of God. But then we don't want to stay in hospital. We don't want our children to be sectioned. We don't want them to be sectioned. It's too much. It's too painful to see young people going through mental health. It's too painful. So I want to encourage us this afternoon. Every help that is out there, speak to somebody. Speak to somebody as a couple, as husband and wife. Sit down together and discuss it. Say, oh, Daddy, I noticed something about Jade. He has not been coming out. He has been staying in his room a whole day. What's going on? You need to find out, why is he not engaging with other young children? Why is he not engaging with other young adults out there? Why is he not getting involved with things? Maybe there is something in there that is bottling our mind. We need to think about that. And those of us that are single parents, that we are managing because of the stress on our home, please, 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 cry out for help. Don't keep quiet. If your son, if your daughter, if they are going through things or the other, look out for somebody you can trust and engage yourself with them. Go out there. If you are scared because of the family or this, go out there. The social services are there to help. They are not there to take away your children. They are not there to label them. No, they are there to help you. Unless we open up, they can't help. Unless we tell them what we are going through, there is nothing they can do. They cannot do anything. So I want to encourage us that we need to check on our young adults. Call them now and again. Hello, Jade, I need to talk to you. Is there anything? Do you need my help? Do you need my support? Many times they will say no. But if you watch them clearly, you will know when they need it. You will know when they need you. So I want to encourage us that there are so many things out there going through their mind that can make them get into that fear, that anxiety, that depression. So alarming, sad. You hear 14 years, 11 years, 16 years old, depressed. And well, it's true, they are depressed. They are not lying about it. But sometimes they cry out for help. But we are not there. We are so carried away with what we want to do. We are so carried away with our own personal life. So we need to get them engaged. Like they said, go out there. When last did we sit down together as a family? When last did we go out together as a family? When last did we say, oh, you know what? you know, we just need to go out there, just take a walk. During that walk, you've prepared yourself. You've got questions you want to ask him, that him or her that is ready, you know, it might take him time to answer, but then you know how to go about it. You don't go direct, you know how to go about it. And we ask for the wisdom of God, that God, we need your help. We don't want this to continue in the generation. We don't want it to continue in the family, because to be honest, like all the speakers have said, if we don't tackle it now, and it's not tomorrow, it's now. If we don't tackle it now, it's going to be a continuous thing in the generation, which definitely we don't want. So it is important that we do that. And I pray that God Almighty will continue to encourage each and every one of us. You see those Bible verses, it's so important we do that. You know the story of Esther. We all know the story, because the uncle was there for him. And I just want to encourage us there. Some of us, we have our nieces, we have our nephew out there. What do we do to support them? What do we do? Sometimes they cry to us, they hide to us. When they come to us, do we hide? Do we say, oh, what your mom is doing? You know, she's still old fashioned. Is still old fashioned? No. Whatever you can do as aunt, as uncle, to support them as well. That's why it's called family. It is called family. So the environment matters. It's so important that we encourage them in the things that they need to do. Don't cover them up. If you notice anything that is out of norm, please call their attention to it. If you don't do this, if you don't change, I'm picking the phone right now and I'm calling your mom and I'm going to report them. Because sometimes, you know, they know that Auntie Taye might cover me up when I go to her. She will not tell my mom, you know. So please, 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 if we notice anything, we know they are going through things, encourage them. And then I'm going to discuss this with your mom. I can't cover it because you need help, you know, you need help. So we just do that. We call the mom and say, this is what we happen with that. Whichever one that we know is comfortable that can address it. And then we discuss it as a family. God will help each and every one of us. Like I said, that Esther, if not for Mordecai, won't be where she was then. So I want to encourage each and every one of us, because God has created us on this earth, that we should just prosper, and we should be prosper in good health, sound mind. If you don't have sound mind, how do we deliver? If our young people that are supposed to be the future of our tomorrow, if they don't have sound mind, what will happen? I want to encourage us, don't let our skin color has nothing to do with mental health. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Let us come out. Let us discuss it. It doesn't matter. People can say whatever they want. It's okay. It's okay. It's about you. It's about me. It's about seeing my children thriving in the things of God, thriving in their education, thriving in their career, thriving as well in their marriage. We don't want them to go through what we have already went through already. We want them to be prosperous, to God to bless them. So I don't want to go on and on and on, because I can go on and on and on. So, and before I forget, before I leave, social media, please, please, please work on that. Work on that. Check your young people. Know what they are doing now and again. Now and again. When they know mom is checking, they will not do anything that is not right. They will not go on any social media group and join some groups that can affect them mentally, that can put them in a situation that they won't, because things that they see, they want to live large as well. They want to do things, and when they can't get that, that can make them depressed. That can put them down. So I want to encourage us. Let us make sure that we check on them now and again to make sure that what they are doing is right, and to be able to know if there's anything that they are searching for that can relate to their mental health, to be sure that we are seeing that. Please, there is help out there, and if you need help or support, you've got doctor here. Please, 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 don't let any one of us that are going one thing or the other at the moment keep it. This is an opportunity. You can email her, you can text her right now, and just contact her. God bless each and every one of us. I yield my mic.
Thank you, Abimbola. Thank you so much for that. I think we've heard it all. 3 speakers. I can't see any question on my chat. If you if you want to speak, you're free. And if you prefer sending your question via chat, that's okay as well. But while we're waiting for people to send their question through, or you want to put your hand up so I can call you, Foyi is here as well. Lulu and Olu, they're happy to support their young people with us this morning, or this afternoon, sorry, it's 12 o'clock, it's midday. So if you have your question, if you prefer to speak, that's fine. If you prefer to send it via chat, that's okay as well. But while we're waiting, there's something that kept coming to my mind. And I think it has to do with what Pastor Mo said earlier. And I was thinking about it. She said, school seems to be our children's safe place. That to me was really, I know I've heard something like that before, but it's really an important thing to me. Why is it that school, people, our children, the school seems to be a safe place to them? Why is it that it's easy for them to just go to school, enjoy school, speak to them there, than we parents? What is it that we're not doing right as parents? Because we're here because of these children. We want to get it right. Because if we listen to the three speakers this morning, the most important thing that I've actually heard is knowledge, communication, openness. Those are the things that has actually been coming up. Are we open enough? Are we communicating? Are we increasing in knowledge? Are we even taking, there are a lot of things around us that we can benefit from. And you know, the reason why I'm asking this question is that there was a day I was speaking to a dad. The son has just been diagnosed with ADHD. And we're just talking about the help that this child can get, you know, medication and things like that, support. And you know what the dad said to me? He said, don't worry about that. While we were growing in Nigeria, we did not receive anything and we survived. And I said, oh my goodness me. I said, why should you say this? There is help for you. And you know, he just brushed it off and I just kept quiet and that was it. And you know, I speak to a lot of people every day. And it seems to be from people of color, people from our side. It seems to be the same thing. You know, if you can go back to our YouTube page or Facebook, we had this same workshop last year, the same thing. Are we utilizing the things that have been made available to us? Are we speaking out? Do we just think the way we grew up? You know, because obviously things have changed. While I was growing up more than 50 years ago is different from what's going on now. What the children are going through is different from what we went through then. So why is it? Because it's really something that is touching, is touchy. So, and I want Pastor Mo, if possible, man, if you can just tell us a little bit why, you know, such a statement was really break my heart when he said, oh, don't worry, when your son has just been diagnosed with ADHD, at least you know what we went through then and we survived. Must our children go through a stressful life? Is that the way we look at things? We can't hear you, Pastor Mo. We can't hear you. Sorry, man.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, it's quite unfortunate, but that is, I mean, we see it in practice, we see it in church, we try to educate people. And that was why I mentioned something about being culturally competent. I think every parent needs to be culturally competent. We might have come from Lagos, Nigeria. These children don't have the culture of Lagos, Nigeria. And until we are able to actually adapt and get to understand the culture of where they are, and we need to understand this culture as well. I mean, you see people that have lived in this, in you know, developed country, not necessarily UK, for 25 years, and they still want to do things the way they were doing it in Ibadan, Nigeria 25 years ago. Even if they had to go back to Ibadan now, it's not the same culture. They've moved on, and we want to impose that upon our kids. And there's a fine line, isn't it, between I want to discipline
child and I want my child to come out, to be the best in everything, there's a fine line between that and child abuse, So we need to be, I think it starts from that cultural competence, being intentional about wanting to know everything, every support that is around our children. Some of our people, we don't even go for parents' evening because we're at work. The teachers of our children don't know us, especially and I know it might be difficult for single parent, but you see, these are important stuff. Children want to know that their parents are involved. And if you are not there, they begin to find that safe space, because what are the needs of a child? You're looking at the emotions, you are looking at the shelter, food, and clothing. We might be doing that very well. But what about the emotions? What about the spiritual? Spiritual is not just going to church. It's their personal belief, what they think, how they see themselves in the context of the whole world. Are we really guiding them? Because if we don't guide them, something else will guide them. So, and I saw a lot of that in my practice during COVID. As you know, a lot of abuse, a lot of children were killed in the UK, actually because there was no school. And the home front is supposed to be the safest place for a child. In fact, it's part of social work. We know that when a child suffers significant harm, we don't see that from our background, isn't it? It looks like when anything harmful happens to a child, it has to come from the third party. That's not the truth, especially underage children. The significant harm happens from somebody that is very familiar to them. That's what the research says. So how safe is the home? And I think it's a question that we need to ask ourselves. How safe is our homes? The last time we had this program, the last time that I was a part of this program, one of our sisters was saying that a young person said that my mom usually the mom usually leave them with somebody to watch them, somebody to look after them when she was not there. And then one day, this child said to the mom, "Why do you always lock your bedroom door, when auntie is here?" And the mom said, I can't leave my bedroom door open because I'm not here. And the child said to the mom, "So you can leave me with auntie, but you cannot leave your bedroom door." What values do we place on these children, this treasure that the Lord has given to us? And the only thing that I can say, is that may we not get it wrong before we get it right. May the evil of this land, may it not catch up with us. It's something that is really serious. So, and I think the best thing, the number one thing, is that we come together and we get help together. And we speak out. And if we are struggling as well, I have seen, especially people from the Caucasian and the white people, they sit with you in clinic, and it's like, I just want an understanding of what's happening for this child, so that I'll be able to know how to support him or her. That's something that we don't get a lot from people from our background. We just want the child to come. We just want that child to comply. We just want that child to fit into our own small box. That's what we do. And then because I do what I do in the community and I do this job, sometimes you just cannot but see the comparison, because it's like, when they come in, you ask parents, what is your goal from this assessment? I just want an understanding of what's going on for him or her, so that I'll be able to support them better. Ask my sister or my brother from our background. They just want that child. And I'm not saying everyone, but most of the time, they want that child to fit their own small little, to tick their own boxes. Because I'm a doctor, my father is a doctor, my brother is a doctor, the sister is now qualified, I don't know what's wrong with this one. You are pushing that child away. And then their safe place, Because one of the questions we ask is that, what about, what are the safety nets, and most children, we don't even mention their parent. It's unfortunate. And I think we need to do a lot of adjustment by getting education, by being being part of discussions like this, by actually knowing that it's not about us. Like the other sister was saying, these are treasure that God has given to us. Lord, how can I really support this child? It's about them, supporting them to become everything that God has proposed them to become. And how do we do that? We work with other agencies, we work with other people, we get education, we get all the aids that is out there, i.e. medication, i.e. support and inputs and sessions, and we create that time for it. The Lord will help us.
Thank you so much, Nance. Thank you, Pastor Mo. The Lord will help us. The Lord will help us. We need our children, because the school, our children, the home should be a safe place for them. Should be. It starts from home first, not from school.
Hello, ma. Hello, ma.
Say something.
Somebody is raising their hand for a while.
Yeah, I'll come to you 1 minute. I think Abimbola wants to say something, and then I will go to Sister, I think Francisca. Just 1 minute, please. Abimbola wants to say something, and then we'll come to you.
Yeah, I want to say something about that the brother, someone's holding, but like Pastor has said, that it's so sad when people come to the hospital, and they sit them down, they ask them what they want, and it's so alarming that it can take days, months, and at the end of the day, they will still be going round and round. And when they ask other people of color, straight away they tell you what they want. They will tell you, this is what I want from this, and this is where I'm going. And straight away, within there are 28 days they are in the hospital. You see, some of them, they've been discharged, they go home. But for people of color like us, the Black, we just go round and round, round and round and round and round. We don't, at the end of the day, sometimes some of the consultants, they just get tired because they don't know how they can come in to help. The support that the reason why they brought them to the hospital, that they said maybe within 2-3 weeks, sort it out, go back, but then we are still right in the hospital. They're still dealing the same one question. They can deal with it for the whole 6 months. So that's where it's alarming, really.
Thank you, Abimbola, for that. Thank you so much. Francisca, yes, you can unmute and ask your question now.
Well, it's not a question, it's a contribution. Thank you, Sister Diola. I just want to say thank you to all our guest speakers. They've actually spoken well and covered a lot of grounds. I'm a social work practitioner, and I've been in this role now for well over 25 years, and I've been in management for 15 years of that. And I work across all sections of children's social care. And as everyone have rightfully said, the home is a foundation for our children. And unfortunately, sometimes the home is never the safest place for the children. And sometimes it's due to ignorance. And also I want to correct the notion that mental health is colorblind, is gender biased, not gender biased. It's not. It doesn't specifically target some group of people. But yes, there are times that some of these factors are higher in some group than others. I currently work in a very, very affluent part of London, and which is predominantly white environment, and I mean a very high class group of people. COVID has increased mental health, particularly anxiety and depression for young people, not just in all areas. And so therefore, and also it's not about single parenthood alone. there are times that it's better, and I'm not promoting divorce or anything like that, but from my professional experience, a toxic home environment increases children's mental health far higher than when a child is raised in a single loving home. From the work I've done, quite a number of children that have had mental health issues have traced this back to the home where they are raised. So it's important that we create a home environment, as everyone have rightly said, for our children to be able to develop in a way that they will have positive outcomes in life. And also, I wanted to add, lastly, that sometimes the pressure that we put on our children, especially in achieving educational attainment, is far higher. We want to mold them, as the pastor has said, to fit into our own little box. And sometimes what we maybe generations have achieved or parents have not been able to achieve, they want their children to be that way. And your children is possibly wired differently. So it's supporting your children to know what they are good at and supporting to develop in that area. It's not everybody that will become doctors, lawyers, engineers. So it's knowing our children individually and supporting them to grow and become somebody that will be fulfilled in whichever field that they've chosen. That's my only little contribution. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Toxic environment, knowing our children. It's really, really important. Please, I hope people are taking note just like I'm doing. I'm here to learn. Honestly, I'm taking notes. Thank you so much for that, Sister Francisca. God bless, man. I think I've got somebody. Is it Shade? Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. I'm joining with my mom. Her name is Shade, but my name is Sarah. I just want to thank the organizers for this really insightful event. My mom told me to join this morning. It's really, really encouraging to see mothers coming together to have this discussion, because this is something I dealt with regularly as a youth leader in my previous church. You can hear I'm a bit younger, so I'm 27. I'm probably one of the youngest people here, probably. But I just wanted to really hone in on that point about creating a safe space for young people. What I realized is that young people would come to me if they're having, you know, maybe issues with their sexuality or issues with being in a toxic environment at home. And essentially, they could not speak to their parents. You know, the home was not a safe place for them. They would complain that their parents wasn't understanding them. Their parents wasn't giving them the time and opportunity to engage in their interests. They were just not getting support from their parents. So when we would have these sessions in church or even sessions outside of the church, I tried to create some sort of outlet for them. Yeah. So I just really wanted to encourage everybody here, not just to have these discussions here, but to have these discussions with their other networks. Really and truly, the children are suffering and having these mental health issues. And some, as someone mentioned previously, eventually in section just because of the foundational issues within the household. If we as parents, well, I'm not a parent, but if the parents come together and really take time out to look at their child holistically and say, what's wrong with this child? Sometimes it's taking the child to a football game and the child will open up. You know, sometimes it's taking the child to get their nails done and the child will open up. I think parents also need to know what interests their child have, what passions their child have, and they can use that platform to really, really get them to open up and to look at them. Going to work and doing every night shift under the sun is not going to help build your children into the doctor, nurse, legal practitioner that you want them to be. It's not going to help them. We really need to invest time and manage our work-life balance just as well in the home. My mom went through a period whereby, yes, she had to do, you know, crazy ad hoc shifts, but she took out the time to do things like take us on holiday. I will never forget that. I've been all around the UK just because mom took time every couple of months to take us on holiday. Those experiences I'm going to hold in my heart. But my mom took out that time to do that because she wanted us to have certain experiences. And I think some people have taken that for granted. So I just wanted to encourage everyone, and I want to just thank the organizers and all of the speakers for this platform. I am learning, and this is such a great thing. And I think I will look at the social media platforms and also be sharing it with my network platform as well. And if there's any other events that I could probably support and speak on, I'd love to be a part of it as well. So God bless you all, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shade. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate you, and thank you for your time as well. And for those important information, giving is not going to work every time. That is going to make our children what we want them to be. Invest time in them. Balance our work time. It's really important. You know, sometimes it's good to hear this from other people, you know, and just like I said, I speak to a lot of parents. Sometimes when you're talking to them, I say, you don't have to go work 6 nights in a week. And some of them just look at you, oh, you don't know what I'm going through. I need this money. But it's not all about money. But it's a good thing we're hearing it from other people now. And I hope people are taking note just like I am. So really awesome time. I think Lolu, one of the young person with us, is got a question. And Lolu, can you unmute yourself and speak? And then after we can come to Taiwo. So, because I can see she's got her hand up.
Yes.
Thank you.
I've got a question for Dr. Christiana, and it says, I have a friend whose parents believe that mental health issues are just spiritual hurdles, and can only be solved by just prayer. He thinks he needs help. How would this young person ask for help?
Is Dr. Christiana still with us?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I'm still here. Thank you so much, Lulu. Do you mind me asking how old this friend is?
Actually, it's not directly from me. I was sent the question from someone.
Right, okay, that's fine. And the only reason I asked about the age is because sometimes that determines what would happen. So for example, the trust I work in, we have young people who just bring themselves to A&E. So usually from the age of 12, 11, where they're in high school, they can go place themselves, they bring themselves to A&E.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I've been told that the person is 16 years old.
Okay, thank you. So a 16-year-old old enough to sort of get some of that help. And I think it brings us back to the same things that we've all been talking about, that as parents, it's all right to manage mental health from a spiritual point of view, because I am a Christian and I believe in spirituality, and there is a role for spirituality in managing mental health. However, whilst you're managing it spiritually, there is also the role of medicine. It's just, well, it's very, I always try and compare mental health with physical health. So you have a lot of people who have high blood pressure in Nigeria, and they would rather go for prayers than take medications. And these people oftentimes have a stroke and die. So you ask yourself, where is the wisdom in what they've done? So for this person who is going through mental health problems, I'm not sure the extent of the mental health problems, but they can actually take themselves to the GP or take themselves to A&E. So the GP at that age would be able to keep confidential that conversation they've had with them. And if it's not something the GP is able to manage, they will refer it to secondary services so that they see a mental health specialist. But please encourage that child. They shouldn't keep it to themselves. And this just briefly brings me to the importance of boosters in our lives and in our children's life. I want us to realize that we wouldn't be able to meet all our children's needs, but ensuring that we connect them to the right people. So whether it be at church, making sure they're connected to the right people, to their grandparents, connections to aunties and uncles that you know have the same or similar values as you hold, connecting with teachers, the right people in authority, so that when they have a problem, they know where to go. So for this particular person that's going through mental health problems, if he feels or she feels that they are not able to communicate some of that distress to the parents, which it sounds like, I would encourage them to speak to their GP, who would sort of channel things the right way. Alternatively, they could speak to a pastor if they go to a church, or speak to an older auntie or uncle that would be able to support them. I think it's important that we ensure that the people that surround our children are the right people. So whether it be their friends or it be older people, but that they have that right booster support system around them. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Doctor. Do you have anything to add to that, Pastor Mo?
Yeah, I'll just add, in addition to what Dr. Christiana has said, I know, so he's 16, so it's probably about to finish high school, going into college, depending on which month or if he's in college. So if he's still in high school, I don't know whether it's every local authority that does it, but a lot of local authorities now, they have something, and some colleges has it as well, that they call the mental health liaison officer. So they've got people from the local authority, maybe level 4, someone that goes into school to actually speak to children about their mental health. So from there, if they realize that it's something that is worth referring, that is more serious, then they can send a referral in to CAMHS or single point of access. So it can speak to someone in school as well. And like Dr. Christiana said, you can actually speak to his GP. And now that he's 16 plus anyway. So if I had that child on my caseload, now that he's already 16 plus, every letter, every correspondence should be going to him. For every 16 plus, we speak to them. We don't speak to parents. We actually, so he can actually, even walk into any of the mental health services, and they will deal with him as a person. And then probably when they're doing the holistic assessment, if he gives consent, they can now let the parents in. So he's 16, so he's actually in a good place for him to get a lot of help by himself.
Thank you, Pastor Mo. Thank you so much. Taiwo, you can ask your question now.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for this gathering, because it's quite robust, in terms of, speaking to what our children or we also are going through, and I like the question that Lulu asked, and even if we have to look at it from a spiritual point of view, I'm going to use the scripture of when the Bible talks about King Saul having what we would term as schizophrenia, psychosis now, and something was done. They said when David would come and he would play the strings, that the madness would leave him. So he just didn't wish it away, or something was done. There was an action that took place. So I love what Dr. Christiana and Pastor Mo had spoken, because one thing I wanted to share was that if we notice, our children have outsourced our roles and responsibilities to their friends and to the social media, rather than come to us to gain that knowledge. They would rather take it to their friends because they're afraid that we will judge them, or we will shout them down, or we don't have that time. So even the Shade that spoke earlier and I said we have to create time out of that no time. It's very important in these days that we live in. For me, I talk to a lot of teenagers. I am a member of, and I realized one thing, even with outsourcing, I realized that there are some of them that don't want to speak to adults. So what I did was really, I used their friends, because nobody can thrive outside of a community. There's no isolation. You cannot be isolated. You can only thrive.
Oh,
sorry, I think I went off. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes. That's okay. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So what I was able to do was, amongst those their friends, I found those who they had leadership qualities, and we would speak through them so that they could speak to them, and found out that was very effective after some time. So it was like what they call a pyramid, So there are those that are a bit more accessible. So we will speak through them to learn. So even with Lulu, you know, he can find friends, you can speak through friends that actually maybe have gone through this or they are working through it. When you know that somebody else is progressively working through what you are going through, it makes you feel at peace. It makes you feel like, yes, I can actually get help. You know, so sometimes, you know, you find out that some children don't really, or our children don't really do well with adults. They can't really speak. So, you know, at that point in time, we got children also, or people that are slightly older than them, also that they look up to within their community that could speak to them. You know, I remember that a young girl was having sexuality issues one time, and she just couldn't speak to any of us. You know, she was getting addicted to porn and pornography, and there was an slightly older young adult that we used to. So she started speaking with him and speaking with her. There were two of them that had gone through such addiction, so she had access to them. She was speaking with them. They were sharing how they were able to overcome this, and over time, you know, because in well, spiritually and in physical, there's no space. Vacuum would look for something. We were creating a safe place for her within those people. And over time, you know, she started filling up her mind with better things. She started being productive. We realized that she loved to write. She was creative. She started writing down her thoughts, and she's doing well now. You know, so just, you know, this is something that we, thank you, Dr. Obadino. This is something that we need to expand even within these borders, you know, because I have been blessed just listening to all the speakers and we just sharing our hearts today. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Is this the right pronunciation? Is it Tess? Is that right? Did I pronounce the name well? Hello, can you hear me?
Hear me? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I can hear you. And I'm sure everyone else can hear you. You're muted. Hello? Can you speak? If not, you can send the question via chat, please. We have to move on because of our time. Okay. Are you ready to speak now?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can. And I'm sure.
I would like to say a big thank you to all the speakers. And I'm a young mom, like Lulu said. It said she's a young teenager, and it's good to have one here. I'm also a young mom. I'm learning from people who have had more experience. And the only thing I wanted to add is just my own contribution is, for this forum you've started, is there a possibility, because we're young people, like some of the speakers have said, some of us have a safe place, and because of the society where we find ourselves, we find it very difficult to like be open to some situation. Is there a possibility that these doctors and all these mothers we have here have a forum where we could open up to them, because they're in this group, they know how the system runs, and we can come to them with our problem, then they can channel us properly sometimes to say, this is where you can get help from, even though we know they are in different locations. Is that possibility to have that kind of forum where we will be able to open up sometimes? For some of us, we find it difficult to maybe, like people said, we say we are Black people. I don't refer myself as Black. I say I'm just a creature of God, just where I'm coming from. But yes, they say we're Black, but I'm not Black, because God, if I'm Black, that means God is Black. So at least just people we can trust, that speak our own language, that understands us and hear our problem first, then they can tell us, channel us properly to say, this is where you can get help for your child or for yourself as an individual, or for marriage counseling. Not that you're counseling, because every marriage is different, but something to guide us, because some of us are still carrying the culture which we have been brought up with or born with from Africa or Nigeria in precise, living it here in Europe, which is not adaptable, because what is happening here is different from what is happening in Nigeria. And like someone actually said, back home now things are different as well. Things are changing. So it would be nice if you can have a small forum or a group between yourself where they tell us, like, you can open up to somebody, even in prayer mood, or to say what is really bothering you, and then you can seek for help. I don't know if that's possible. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Tess. Towards the end, I'm going to share some information about it's Amazing Grace that actually organized this workshop. Can we please mute ourselves? Let's mute ourselves, please. This workshop was actually organized by Amazing Grace Tutoring Club. We're a club that supports children. I'll talk about that towards the end. So I'm going to share some information. If you need help, you can contact us. We will try and direct you. And from what I can hear from everyone now, we will take a step. We'll organize something else around parents that is going to help some of us as well. So thank you so much for that. That's noted. I've got Mark or Jamie up. Please, you can speak, sir. Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for organizing this conference. I mean, just building on what Tess has said, sometimes the institution doesn't have a human face, because when you are going through mental health, you need relationship more than referral to a name or referral to an organization. So, how do we trust the people? We generally don't really trust the system, and sometimes the system doesn't seem to understand people from a colored background. So how do we deal with that? For example, things like sickle cell. Don't marry this kind of group of people, because if you get married to someone with the same disease, you might have sickle cell children. But that is not predominant with GPs. Some of the Caucasian GP may not necessarily understand that. So I just wonder, because I work in the university system, and what they told us is, single SPA, single point access, just refer them. In our emails, we put so many links. Students don't need that. We put a lot of posters in several buildings. They need people that are real, that can share their experiences and relate with them, because professionally speaking, we can't do that, because it's not professional. But mental health issues doesn't need any sort of professional boundary sometimes. I don't know if I made my point or. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I would love Dr. Christiana Elisha-Aboh to speak a little bit on that, and then, if possible, Pastor Mo as well, because I quite like what you said. We need real people. I understand, and another important thing is trust. It's really important. Do we trust each other? The person I'm going to talk to, will this person be able to accept me, accept what I'm going through? So if Dr. Christiana Elisha-Aboh can just speak a few minutes, our time is really, really moving fast. And then Pastor Mo, please.
Thanks, Auntie Adeola. Mark, I think you've hit it spot on. But one of the things I want to say here before I go is, this is a big challenge, and this is actually a cry to say we need more diversity in mental health. We find out that it's easier to open up to people that you feel or you think have similar problems or difficulties to you. And that's why if you look at the school environment, you see that our children end up with friends that look like them or that are quite similar to them. There's something innate about that sort of calls to who's closer to you. So I agree with you, there's not enough, but we need more people to speak up and to talk about the awareness that needs to be raised. Recently, within my trust, I was able to support organizing a transcultural workshop, just raising awareness on transcultural issues. Remember that a lot of people don't want to be unkind. They just haven't been through these experiences, so they don't know. They don't know that mental health needs a face. People want to see who they are relating to. They don't know. So until we have people that are in strategic positions that can actually raise their voices and ask for help and ask for access and ask for a face and raise the awareness and say, when you're seeing someone from a different cultural group, these are the issues they face. The other thing I want to say is that there are lots of NGOs and charities now that support people with mental health difficulties, and a lot of them are channeled towards people from a BME background. So what I'll do after this is I'll send it to you, Auntie Adeola, and then you could share it more widely. But there are a lot of resources that are available. The resources I'll send are more things that are sort of quite local to Yorkshire, but a lot of them are also national bodies. So these are points of contacts that a parent could go to, someone could go to and say, I'm from this area, I'm Asian, or I'm African, Afro-Caribbean, or I'm African, and I need support with this. And because they've dealt with similar things, they are able to help. I cannot say it loudly enough. There is a problem with stigma in our community, where we do not want to accept the facts that are on ground about mental health. We choose to live in denial. And that is a big, big problem that we face. The fact, you see that a lot of times, and we have this in statistics, that people that turn up or come in contact with mental health services, especially for Black minority groups, are usually brought in by the police. And this is because we leave a lot of things till they are late. You find out that a child is beginning to fight in school. The child is beginning to hit others, carry knives. You're not looking into what's going on. How can I access support for this child? You're looking at how to cover it up and how to hide it. And I say this to everyone as much as I say it to myself. And this is why you need checks around you. You need people that will be honest with you and say, I don't think you're doing this right. I think you need to think again. I think we need help. We need support. I think we need to ask others. There are confidential services that you can contact. So I don't want anyone to live here suffering alone. If people choose to carry your story around, they have their own stories that they're possibly hiding. Even if they don't have their own stories, it's not about you. It's a reflection of who they are, not a reflection of who you are. So when you need help, someone has been through that problem you're going through. So please ask for help and don't suffer in silence. Don't let that child suffer in silence. You can never get that time back. Remember that when a child suffers with mental health, there's also an impact on their brain. It's going to be very difficult to come back from that apart from a miracle. So when you're thinking, you're nipping things early, you're finding out this child is already becoming like this and like that. I need to start thinking about how I address this problem now, today, rather than covering it up, rather than hiding it. And mothers, I say this to you because I think we're sort of more guilty at covering things up. We want to cover our children. There are times my children do things and I say, I will tell your dad what you've done. Because I need them to know that I'm not going to cover up what you've done. And I think it's something that we all need to do, where children know that there is responsibility, there's accountability. If a father is not in the picture, what about grandparents? Who are other people in authority that they can be accountable to? So it's important that we think about all of this and please raise awareness. More people needed here. There's no other way we can do it if more people don't choose to come into mental health. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Pastor Mo, can you speak?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Brother Mark. Thank you for that observation. You know, like I said at the beginning, the health and social care system is very complex, it's very broad, it's not easy to navigate. And even if you work, you know, for some of us that works in this line of business, if we need advice in an area, we might need to speak to colleagues or speak to other people that works in different areas. So what am I trying to say? So we've got some platforms like what Dr. Badino has got. You know, we are involved with one thing or the other where we support children, we support young people. And I know in the past, Dr. Adeola has rang me before just to get guidance about a child that was going through assessment for a diagnosis, just to see how we can support the family. And I didn't even need to know this family. So what am I trying to say? There's something they call natural support in social work. So let's use all the natural support. So we thank God for where he's placing us, you know, in different areas. You know, you are in the university, you are in education. We are out here in mental health settings, and we can pull those resources together. How? We can use platform like Dr. Badino's platform. You know, you can speak to her and then she can get the information from us. And, you know, like our sister Tess said before, you know, numbers could be exchanged. People can ring up. We can, you know, I have a sister, one of our pastor's wife. And for some reasons, over the years, you know, she's over 50 now, and she will always ring me, Pastor Mo, come and give us advice. This family, they are taking the children. I'll say, okay, fine, let them ring me. Even though my social work, I practice I'm not doing core social work. You know, I'm doing mental health, and then I can get information from resources from other sisters to support the family. And after a while, I said, don't you think that God wants you to go and study social work? And she's already had masters. And I said, go and do it. It's only 1 year or 2 years. You know, Dr. Christiana just said we need more people. And now she's nearly finishing the master's degree in social work, and she's supporting families and a lot of people in our church. So what am I trying to say? So she might be doing core social work and I'm doing mental health. What will happen is we can pull resources together. There are things that I might need from the system now, and I might need to ring Dr. Christiana up now that I know that I can contact her through Dr. Adeola. So what am I trying to say? Let's pull all these resources together. Let's be there for each other. So anybody so as somebody who works in the university, you will not be able to break confidentiality. But you can say, okay, I know an organization, it's an NGO, and it's called, you know, and that will be Dr. Obadino's organization. And then that's there. And then because you can refer people, and there's a lot of them out there. And then from there, we signpost until we get what we need. Even filling forms alone, for you to be able to fill the right. I was laughing when Brother Mike was saying about the single point of access, because you can fill that referral and you can be sitting on that queue for 1.5 years.
Yes.
But then if you are within the system, if I'm the one supporting someone to actually contact, you know, I know, you know, we kind of know the back door and the shortcut, you know, and we kind of know how to make it big for them to jump the queues. And those are all the reasons why God has placed us where we all are, and we all need ourselves. So, you know, contact Dr. Badino. She will always contact us, you know, and we can guide and brainstorm. And I mean, the other sister spoke before, and she's been in social work for 25 years. Yes. That's a lot of resources lying there, and we can tap into that, you know.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pastor Mo. Thank you so much. So Pastor Mo said it all. Please, I will leave, just like I said, this workshop was set up by Amazing Grace Tutoring Club. We were passionate about things like this, children, mobility, and we just want our children to have the best. I will leave our Instagram information, the email and everything where you can send details. If you want to come with us and let's continue to do this, please, I'm happy to, towards the end of this workshop. So I think one of our young adult, Foyi, she's got a question. Foyi, you have the floor now, please.
Thank you, Ma. So this question is directed to Mrs. Abimbola, and it says, how do I boost my communication with my parents? They seem to be too busy to listen.
Do we still have Abimbola with us? Because I think she's busy. Let me have a look. Do we still have Abimbola with us? Are you still with us, man? Yeah. Okay.
Let's carry on. 55 minutes. I'm here. I will answer that question.
Okay. I don't know if okay, Pastor Mo will be leaving in the next few minutes because she's got another workshop. If Dr. Christiana can still help us a little bit before we have Abimbola coming on.
Okay, Foyin, I think that's a very real question and a big concern on a lot of young people's minds, how they can actually communicate with their parents. I think communication has to vary from one person to the other, depending on what their communication, what sort of communication style they respond to. And I'm saying this because some people respond to you saying to them, I don't want this and that. For some people, you have to write. And there's something beautiful about writing, because a lot of young people say, when I start telling my parents things, they quickly shut me up, or they start giving excuses, or they start giving explanations for their behaviors or what they've done. But if you write a letter or you send an email to your parents, one, they know that this is more weighty from what you're communicating. Pastor Mo, do you want to say one last word before you go?
Yes, yes, please. I was just about to say that. She's leaving. She's got another workshop at 1 p.m.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. Thank you, Doctor. Yeah, I mean, just like you were saying, and I think, you know, for a young person, and this is coming from someone, you know, God has helped me and God is still helping me. I've got 2 grown boys. I've got a granddaughter now. And what I want, you know, one of the mistakes that parents can make is to compare children to children. We can compare, you know, a boy to a girl, or even a boy and a boy can be different. I think we need to deal with our children in an individualized manner. And I think it's the same. It is relevant for young people as well. Every relationship starts with respect. It's about, you know, listening and actually wanting the conversation, not because you want to win, but to see things from that other person's point of view as well. And I know we've touched on sexuality today, and I think we probably need a whole program to address that issue in our background. So it's about bringing, what I would say is that one person in every relationship must be ready to bring the cat out of the bag, you know. And of course, you know, I kept talking about being culturally competent. Even young people needs to be culturally competent by knowing that my father dare not talk back to his own parents. So he's trying now to listen to me, but I cannot still disrespect my father. So it's about, and it's about how much value are we placing on that relationship? So when you approach the parent, are you approaching them as somebody who is already against you, or you truly want that relationship? So it all, and I think we talked about responsibility and accountability before. I think young people too, they need to start. You cannot tell me that I'm grown up in ABCD area, but I want to be a child in ZYB on the other side. If you want to prove that you are grown up, then let's have grown up talk. So it's about that responsibility and accountability on behalf of the children, you know, on the side of the children and on the side of the parents as well. And every cat must be brought out of the bag. The Lord will help us in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. So, you know, speak to Dr. Obadino if there's anything we can do, if there is any feedback we want. She's really good in that, you know, and we will brainstorm together and she will give you a feedback. And I pray that the Lord will give all of us an answer of peace in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor Mo. Thank you so much. It's been nice having you. Love you.
Love you. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Pastor Christiana, Dr. Christiana, do you still want to see? I don't know. I'm calling you Pastor. Don't worry. The anointing is great. It's coming. Do you want to speak? I think Abimbola is here now. Before Abimbola comes on, we've got one more question that one of our young person wants to ask, so that the young person can ask that question as well. And then we'll start to round up because it's near 1 o'clock. Dr. Christiana, you can speak now.
Just very quickly for him. So I've said you could write. So you send an email or write a letter.
Southwest on Davenport Avenue towards St. Andrew's Quay.
To express some of your concerns about your parents not listening to you. Another thing you can do is go to them maybe later at night and knock on their door and say, Mommy and Daddy, there's something really important I need to speak to you about. Because sometimes that communicates, either early in the morning or late at night, that communicates an urgency to the parents. If you're still not getting anywhere, you could go through a close family member to say, I'm trying to discuss this with Mommy and Daddy, but I'm really not getting anywhere. And I want someone as a mediator or someone to be there whilst we talk about it. Someone that you know they respect, but not someone that they would feel embarrassed by. So when you want to sort of create this atmosphere to discuss. You could also say to mommy and daddy, I'm trying to get something across to you, but I'm finding it really difficult to do that. And I don't want to come to a point where I have to involve Pastor this, or I have to involve Auntie Joe in this, because I'm really struggling to get my points across to you. And I'm saying this because it's important that we teach our children ways to communicate and ways to be able to sort things out. They will need those skills for life. So if you're struggling to get their attention to communicate something, try those means. And if it still hasn't worked, maybe reach out to Auntie Deola, and she'll be able to give more tips of what you do. And I'll hand over to Mr. Abimbola.
Before Mr. Abimbola comes on, please, 1 minute. I think I've got one of our young person. She has a question. If you can unmute now, Olu. You can unmute now and ask your question so that, okay, I think I can see her. She's unmuted herself.
Hello everyone, hope everyone's good. Yeah, so I've really been enjoying the conference, but my question that I wanted to ask is essentially, why is it so difficult for Black people to come up for assessment for different things? So I think I've heard a few mentions of things like ADHD or like autism, and how it's really difficult for like Black people to come forward to get assessed or to get diagnosed, and things like depression, anxiety. What is kind of the barrier essentially that stops Black people and people of color from coming forward to kind of get that diagnosis?
Okay, I think Abimbola can come up now if she can ask that question for us. I want us to round up in the next few minutes. Thank you for that, Kofoworola Olu as well. Thank you. Are you here, Abimbola? Are you ready?
Yes. Regarding the communication, the question is that the question. Hello, can you hear me?
Communication, and why is it difficult for Black people to come out for assessment?
Okay. All right. In regards to communication, I think young people need to study their parents as well. They should be able to know the button to press when they want to get through to them. You know, when they need money, when they want to collect money, maybe they want to buy the trainers, they want to buy the big jacket, they know how to communicate with mom and dad. So they should try to learn that button that you can easily press to say, Mom, you know what, I need to talk to you. And I think when they want to get something as well, it's an opportunity when they see it's just like every relationship. Couple, you can't, when your husband is angry, you can't go to him or her. You can't go to him and say, oh, honey, we need money to buy some shopping in the house. So they need to try to study as well their parents to be able to get the right button to press, and when to, the tone they ask is as well. I think everyone has said it as well, because the tone as well matters. You cannot shout, you cannot say it like without any attitude, nothing attached to it, and you expect them to open up to you. And also, you try to learn something, I don't know, like maybe cooking. So when mom is cooking, you can see, you must have one of them that you will be able to communicate with. It can't be two of them that is so difficult to communicate with them. So maybe during the cooking session, you are cooking dinner, you can just chip it in, just throw it in from nowhere. She'll be like, what's going on? She will think about it and come back to you and then discuss it. And in regards to assessment, I think the information is just the stigma. We are afraid that we don't want people to know that we have mental health problem. If we say it's going to tag us. So, but this is an opportunity for us to learn that knowledge. Once we know that there is no crime, there is no problem in asking for help, now we just need to keep sharing to let people know that there is support service out there for us, that they shouldn't be scared, they shouldn't worry. The social services are there to help. And even the hospital, and the hospital now, there is help me, I forgot now, the spiritual side of it. You've got pastors and deacons and everyone working together in the hospital as well to support. So go out there, don't have any, it's just the fear of unknown. That's why many people, they don't want to come out for assessment, and we just need to keep sharing the information. Thank you, ma.
Thank you so much, Abimbola. I think we're going to have to start to round up now. It's 1 o'clock. You know, a lot have been said today, and I'm sure I've got my notice full. Let me be sincere with you. We've got things like responsibility, communication, knowledge coming up, a lot. And what I want us to do to round up now is, if you think you're ready to move in this journey, and you know that question that Kofola Olu asked at the end, towards the end of that she asked is really important. Why are we not coming out for assessment? Why are we not coming out for assessment? Why are we trying to hide ourselves? So I'm happy to take this further, but if you think you want to join me in this journey, please feel free. Just like I said earlier, this workshop was set up by Amazing Grace Tutoring Club. We are a club that supports children from year 1 to year 13 educationally, and we do research. We do all sorts of things just to help these children to get the best out of them, you know. Please, we've got our contact is on there. Get in touch. And if you want to come on with me, I'm happy. And I know one of the parents has said we should do something like this for adults as well. I'm happy to do that. But please, if you want to come with me on this journey, please drop your contact, or you can contact using the details above. So it's been a nice and a wonderful experience this morning. I've learned a lot. Trust, knowledge, communication, even our younger ones, responsibility, being responsible, accountability. We need to come out. That's the thing. If we want our children to be safe in our home, we need to create a space where it's safe for them to at least speak to us. So please, 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 this is not going to stop here. There's going to be other workshop coming up. If you feel you want to come with me on this journey, please feel free. Take these details, send me messages, and we will very soon, just like Pastor Mo said, we're always in contact. She's a CAMHS nurse. I've got Dr. Christiana Elisha-Aboh. She knows the medical aspect, mental health. We don't want our children to get stuck. We want the best for our children. We want the best to have our children to have the best of life, the quality life. You know, when we talk about mental health, it's more or less like it's the same thing as our children's is emotional well-being and things like that. And we want our children to have the best. And it all starts from the home. It starts from the environment around them. What environment are we creating in our home? Is it toxic? Please, let's come together, people. Let's do this. And we can do it. We can do it. And this is the only way we can do it, by coming together. We exchange experience. We talk, people, professionals in that field, we get them to help us, and we help each other. So it's been an awesome time, everybody. And thank you so much for your time. I want to say thank you to all the speakers, Pastor Mo. I want to say thank you to Dr. Christiana. Thank you so much, Abimbola. Thank you to everyone that took their time and joined this morning. The only thing I can say to you is God bless you. Thank you so much, and have a lovely weekend. See you soon. Thank you. I will leave this contact for a while on the screen. We're on Facebook. You're on Facebook, you can send me your details. You can send me your, somebody's trying to send me your details, and I can assure you in the next few weeks, where we're going to set up something like this, probably to bring parents together and get them to talk, get them to speak, exchange experience, see what we can do to help each other. So thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome. I know there are some people that still have questions. Please, you can leave the question in the chat. We will look into the question as well. Please, I'm sorry, because of our time. We've spent 2 hours. We have to stop now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Appreciate. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you. Thank you, Tess. Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I appreciate you. God bless you. Dr. Christiana, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I can see some people are still here. I won't end the meeting until everybody's, I don't know if they still want the details. We still have it on the screen. We still have the details on the screen. Please contact us. Let's do this together. Let's do this together. Let's do this together. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. If you want to wait behind, that's fine. I'm not sure if Mark is still here. Mark is, okay, she's left. Okay.
Auntie Adiola, is it okay for me to leave?
Please, you can, Doctor. Thank you. Have a lovely weekend. Regards to your
Yes.
family. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Okay. I still have, okay, Lulu here. I have Tolu. Ogba. Okay, okay. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now. Thank you, Lulu. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Okay. Hello. How are you, madam? Elizabeth's mom. Okay.
Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon. Can I speak with Elizabeth on phone? I want to end the meeting. If you can call me on phone.
Okay, ma. Thank you, ma.
Okay. Okay. Bye-bye, Lulu.
Bye-bye. Can we still have access to this recording?
Yes.